A few years ago, I was stuck inside my residence vlogging because of the pandemic. At that time, the Sigma 16mm f1.4 was getting rave reviews on YouTube for vlogging on cameras such as the ZVE-10, which I am using right now.
I decided to put my trust into those reviews and chose the Sigma 16mm f1.4 as my main vlogging camera.
It was big, it was bulky, but it was okay for doing vlogs from a stationary position. And plus, its sharpness was excellent. Then, the pandemic ended and I wanted to do walking vlogs outside. The Sigma 16mm f1.4 suddenly became a bad idea for those types of vlogs. Perhaps I could go with smaller, compact, and more affordable lenses that were better suited for this type of environment. Yes, I probably lose the sharpness and contrast of the Sigma lens, but I'm only making videos for YouTube, and most of my viewers watch my videos on their smartphones. So image quality was not a priority for myself. I found two lenses that fit my criteria for walking vlogs outside. However, these lenses have had a lot of controversy, especially when it comes to the performance in photography. But perhaps those controversies make them better suited for vlogging and YouTube videos. So let's go somewhere else where I can show you where they really shine. The two lenses I decided to switch for most of my vlogging is the Sony 16mm f2.8 and the Sony 16-50mm f3.5 to 5.6, which is commonly known as the kit lens for most of the Sony APS-C cameras. Did I make the right decision giving up those great lenses for those two controversial and spotty performance record lenses for my vlogs? And am I right when I say that these two lenses are best for most content creators who are going to make videos for apps such as YouTube, TikTok, and other social media platforms? Let's move on to a comparison between these two lenses to see which one is best for handheld outdoor vlogs and which one I would choose for myself. For this video, I'm going to be doing a comparison between these two lenses and their video performance. I will be doing a vlog while walking, holding them stationary, and also from a tripod. This will give you an idea on their autofocusing performance, the quality of the video that it produces, and also their stabilization performance. For this video, I was thinking about including the Sony Xperia Pro I because I believe for these types of vlogs, outdoors, handheld, it's a good alternative because of its lightweight. It is also using the same 1.0 type sensor from the RX100 series, but cropped. However, to show the video performance from this device, I will just use it for most of the B-roll. So most of the B-roll you see throughout this video will be coming from the Sony Xperia Pro I. And if it is from the other two cameras, I will of course note it. All right now this is the 16mm f2.8 lens, and it is in intelligent auto. with active stabilization turned on. Now, I think even with active stabilization turned on, this is a bit shaky. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna run it without it on and put it through Kata's browse so it's a bit smoother. If I sound like I'm huffing for my breath, it's because I'm already going up this hill. I turned off active stabilization and soon I will put it through Kata's browse so you can see how smooth this video is using that program. If you watched my earlier video about this lens when I was doing a comparison with some other ones, you know I complained a lot about its autofocusing capabilities. And right now I have this on continuous autofocus. Usually it should put the eye tracking box or face tracking box over my face, but I don't see that right now. Let's see. So this may be a bit blurry. I'm not sure because this LCD screen is a bit small. So what I'm gonna do now is put it into manual focus so that at least if this is blurry, my face will be in focus. All right, I'm confused here because I see three paths. I'm trying to decide which one to take. I think I'm gonna take the one that has the most sunlight. All right, so this is manual focus now. Hopefully I'm in the shot clearly. And I am going off trail here. I should get back on the trail. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch over to the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens. All right, now this is the Sony 16 to 50 millimeter lens, and I will continue doing a walking vlog showing off the active stabilization and the optical steady shot stabilization plus Kata's browse with this lens. Here's a quick tip for you. If you are using intelligent auto with this lens, don't just start recording. Give it a few seconds for the lens to focus on you and get the correct settings. Right now, I have this lens in active stabilization. I'm sure it's gonna be a bit shaky, just like the f2.8 lens. So what I'm gonna do here is switch over to the optical steady shot option. All right, so this is optical steady shot. That's an advantage that this lens has over the f2.8, which does not have it. So let's see if this is a better choice to use instead of Kata's browse. Because remember, when you use Kata's browse, it's an extra step to stabilize the footage. This hill, whew, it's getting pretty steep. Let me switch over to no stabilization and then I will run this portion through Kata's browse. All right, so right now this is with stabilization off. The aperture is changing from 4.0 to 5.0, and this was the same with the f2.8 lens. Of course, the f2.8 lens can open up all the way to 2.8, but this one can only go to 3.5. But for both of these lenses, it's staying around 4.0, 4.5 in this type of environment. Another quick tip, if you are doing a vlog, make sure you're also paying attention to your surroundings, because I mentioned earlier that I actually went off track of the trail. So you can get very occupied of vlogging like this. And I know it's difficult, there's a lot going on, but you need to frequently check the path ahead of you to make sure that you are not going to go off of it. This is why you need to pay attention to the trail. There is a long spider web trap and a big spider. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, and that's the other advantage the 16 to 50 millimeter has over the f2.8. It can zoom from 16 millimeter to 50 millimeter. Now I'm going to vlog with these lenses handheld and in a stationary position so you can check out its performance during these types of actions. So this is the Sony 16-50mm lens. I am holding it handheld with my arms stretched out. So remember, my arm is about 2 feet in length. And let's see how the autofocus performance is with this type of lens. I will switch it over to optical steady shot so you can see how it looks. All right, so this is how the 16-50mm lens looks like with optical steady shot on. I'm gonna go ahead now and switch it over to active stabilization. And here it is with active stabilization. I can tell it cropped in a lot here. Maybe using optical steady shot or catalyst browse might be a better choice for this lens if you don't want your face in everybody else's face. Here is the Sony 16mm f2.8, holding it handheld in a stationary position while vlogging. So this is in active stabilization. It does crop in a lot, just like the 16-50mm lens. Let me go ahead and turn it off. There is a lot of these insects flying around me right now. But the now active stabilization is turned off. I'm trying to hold it steady so that it looks a little bit smoother, but I'm just gonna run it through catalyst browse so you don't get sick from the continuous movement of this lens. Here's another tip. If you're going to do hiking in this type of environment, be prepared to meet a lot of insects. I just saw one go across the lens, so that's what you're looking at. Make sure that you're wearing long pants. I recommend using hiking boots that go past your ankles, and if you can, use a long sleeve shirt. I recommend with this particular lens just to use catalyst browse for the video stabilization. It's a lot smoother, and yes, it does crop in a little bit, but I only use about a 6 to 10% crop for most of my vlogs, so it's not too bad. And this is why I recommend that you wear some type of long pants and hiking type shoes or boots, because this can happen as well. For the last comparison between these two lenses for walking vlogs, I'm gonna find a spot where I can set up my tripod and do various movements so we can check the focusing performance between these two lenses. So another tip, if you're going to put your bag or other items down onto the ground, be aware that there are a lot of insects, and I can see there's these huge black ants. So when you pick it up, make sure you check it and give it a really good shake. Don't just throw it on your bag because you might end up getting bit by an insect. So this comparison so far has been done in Intelligent Auto, and some people may not like the video quality that they're seeing from this mode. So what I'm going to do later on is use S-Log 2. This is the profile, picture profile 7, that many sources recommend as being the best if you want to use manual mode for this camera, the ZVE-10 and the Alpha 6000 series. This is what I was talking about earlier, why you should always check your equipment if you're going to put it on the ground, because you might encounter insects like this. This is the Sony 16mm f2.8 lens. I know it's a bit bright. Before I came over here, I checked the aperture and it's floating between f18 to f22. So I'm sure the video quality is not going to be that great, but it's also a good example of why you should be using an ND filter in these type of environments, and also knowing how to use manual mode so you can take advantage of that ND filter. I try to find an area that was fairly flat. I'm at the top of the hill right now, and I try to find something with some distraction. So let's see, even with the aperture closed all the way down, if the autofocusing can stay stuck on me when I'm moving around. I'm gonna walk backwards so you can still hear my voice when I'm doing this. Maybe I can run backwards. Yeah. So I'm gonna go about 20 meters out here. Alright, try not to cross my legs when I'm running. That was the autofocusing performance of the Sony 60mm f2.8. Let me go ahead and switch it out to the 16 to 50mm lens. This is the 16 to 50mm lens. Before I came over here, I checked the aperture and it's closed down to f11, which is kind of surprising because both of these lenses are at the 16mm focal length. Now, I know this is not a good setting to test the focusing performance of these two lenses, but safety first. I always stress this in some of my videos. Don't sacrifice yourself for the video. I'm sure we heard stories of people doing selfies in crazy places and dying because of it. So it's not worth it. Always choose safety over getting a good shot. All right, so let me test the focusing performance for this lens. So I'm just running backwards so you can hear my voice. I'm using the Sony ZVE-10 wireless microphone system. It's not good with my back turned towards the camera and trying to pick up my voice. That was the focusing performance comparison between these two lenses while on a tripod. These two lenses don't have to be restricted to doing vlogs in these types of environments. We can also take them into places such as the city or other urban areas. So let's head on there to see how these two lenses compare in those type of scenarios. Oh, spider web.